The falls were a place worthy of fear. The torrent, swollen by the melted snow, plunged into the abyss. Spray rolled up from it like smoke from a burning building. The cauldron of incalculable depth swirled and seethed with foam, brimming and shooting over the lip of the cliffs. The sight turned a man nauseous with its constant whirling and clamour. Sherlock Holmes stood near the chasm's edge, peering down at the gleam of water breaking on the black rocks below. He looked angular, even in a tweed inverse coat and his deerstalker cap. He clutched his single stick with both hands as a chill of fear and uncertainty came over him. The rocky ledge upon which he stood was pounded by the deluge. Across it, a cloaked man moved, seething in anger. It was here at Reichenbach Falls where Sherlock Holmes found himself locked in deadly combat against the Machiavellian mastermind of crime, Professor James Moriarty.
"The game is afoot, as you like to say,"
Moriarty barked.
"and this is our final one."
Sherlock shook his head.
"This is no longer a game, James."
Moriarty's teeth were rotten, his hair slicked back. He wore a finely made suit, and draped over his shoulders was an ulster coat that he wore, much like a cloak, with his arms out of the sleeves. In Moriarty's hand was a weighty cane. Sherlock noticed its decorative brass hyena head. The detective knew from previous experience that Moriarty used this cane to bludgeon to death anyone unfortunate enough to stand in his way. Sherlock had seen his work up close. It was a gruesome sight to behold. The hyena, Sherlock thought, was a fitting animal to represent the relentless nature of Professor James Moriarty's criminal empire. Both taunted and tormented, slowly wearing down their victims until triumph was in their clutches. Moriarty squared off against Sherlock. One misstep here on the slippery rock would certainly mean death. He threw off his ulster coat, which went fluttering over the falls, revealing shoulder holsters, each housing a pistol. Upon seeing the pistols, a look of disdain spread across Sherlock's face.
"A coward to the end,"
Sherlock whispered. Moriarty sprang into action, dropping his cane and cross-drawing his firearms while cocking back the hammers of the pistols with his thumbs. In that moment, Sherlock saw an opening, levelling expert strikes to Moriarty's ribs with his single stick. Moriarty winced in pain. Sherlock raised his single stick again, whacking Moriarty's wrist. The pistol flew out of Moriarty's right hand. Striking the ground, it fired, shattering a stone behind Sherlock's head. Not wanting to be outmatched, Sherlock kicked the pistol over the falls, bringing the fight closer to balance. Sherlock whacked Moriarty's other hand with the single stick, disarming him. The remaining pistol flew behind him. With another quick jab, he struck Moriarty in the jaw, sending him falling to the ground. Moriarty flashed his wicked grin, wiping at the blood running down his chin with his sleeve. He frantically searched the ground, grasping at pebbles until his hands felt the touch of a familiar object, his hyena-headed cane. Moriarty stood to his full height. In a showman-like display, he held out his cane with a hand on each side. He pulled back the brass hyena head, revealing the glimmering blade of the sword concealed within. It was a kalishmard, designed as a middle-aged weapon with a small blade for a nimble attack. In his other hand, Moriarty held the metal sheath. No doubt he intended to use it for defensive blocking. Moriarty swung the metal sheath with full force, trying to strike Sherlock's head and deliver the final blow. Sherlock raised his single stick to deflect the oncoming strike. He wasn't prepared for what happened next. He twisted, trying to avoid Moriarty's sword, but he was too late. The fiend whirled, plunging the blade deep into Holmes's right flank. Holmes' eyes flashed with surprise as he staggered back, holding his wound, looking down as blood seeped into his clothes and spilled out over his hand.
"A fool from the start,"
Moriarty rasped. Sherlock lost his strength, falling to one knee. He tried to stand, but failed to regain his balance. Moriarty recovered the fallen pistol from the ground, his face triumphant as he lifted it.
"The world's greatest detective. Just a man,"
he scoffed.